240Z, of course, is an absolutely classic Datsun, and we had a request to do a build on the car. Well, I got two builds for you, so we better get on with it. The first build will be a Hot Wheels car. That's the one you're seeing here. It's not the Hot Wheels car that was requested because I couldn't do that one, but we'll talk more about it in a second. And the second is a real-world Restomod, a really cool one. I've popped chapter marks in as always, so if you want to watch just one build or the other, you can quickly zip through to that. Now, what I know about Hot Wheels could be written on the bottom of a Hot Wheels car, so forgive me, but I've put a link below which I will urge you to read if you're interested in Hot Wheels or this Hot Wheels build, because I don't really understand what I'm reading, but it involves Red Line Club and limited editions. I think there's feedback from fans and so on, so I think this is probably a quite special Hot Wheels car. Anyway, it looks pretty good, so let's get it built. The build starts with the arch covers. A bit of a dislike for me because of course the wheels don't extend to fill the arches, which is the whole purpose of extended arch covers, but that's the same throughout the game. We want some black ones, as you can see, some really quite large ones, and the best ones we can find is the Carbon Basic Kit, because it also has a skirt that joins the two arches. I always say armour to full, of course, so it looks nice after the crash. Brakes are up to you. On the front bumpers, I spent quite a while, and I think this carbon tuner bumper, if you look at the photo, is the closest to the one we're going to get. I didn't really want the black bumper at grille level as well, but you cannot have the combination of getting rid of that one and still keeping the big splitter, and of course the splitter is designed to go reasonably well with those arches as well. So carbon tuner bumper there. Moving on to the rear bumpers, I just removed it. If you have a look at the pictures, that's a pretty easy choice. Engine I would take to stage 4, it is of course up to you, and again, if you want to do something under the bonnet or hood, there are photos on the link I gave. I never really bother with that. Looking at all the exhausts, I just want that one single exhaust. I can't get it, I don't want all the weird side exhausts, etc. So just pop the stock exhaust on. And I think again with grills that the stock grill most closely matches what I can get on the photo. It's not a great match, but there's nothing that improves on it by going further down. For the hood, I obviously want a black hood, so I'm going to take carbon, and I do want the ridge in the middle. And so that carbon ridged hood really is pretty much a dead ringer for what we want. So that's a very easy choice, and of course being carbon, it won't pick up any form of pearlescent. Now for the livery, let's have a look at everything available, just so you can see, in case you don't own this car yet or you're not very sure. There's a lot of liveries on this car. Now I tried to make a different Hot Wheels car, but despite all those liveries I couldn't find anything close to the different one. Anyway, this particular Orange 190Z livery is of course perfect. I want some black mirrors, so the carbon detail on the mirrors is perfect. You can also try secondary detail in black, but you see again it would pick up the pearlescent, so stay with the carbon. On the plate I just matched the colour there basically. For the respray I wanted the primary a sort of racing blue, but more of a chrome racing blue. There are ways of making chrome colours in the game by making a crew colour, painting it on chrome, but from many angles they end up looking chrome and not the colour you picked, and they can be unsatisfying. So I have a racing blue metallic with an ultra blue pearlescent for the primary. Moving on to the secondary, I've simply gone with black on the secondary. It gives us the black door handle, which matches the one on the car. And most of the other details it would have painted, we've already made carbon, so it's pretty much door handles. Interior is orange, and this is a pretty bright coloured car. On the back you can see this carbon section spoiler is the one you want, and the reason you want the section spoiler is it goes outside the width of the tailgate and covers some of the bonnet, some of the fenders as well. If you choose many of the other ones, they stay restricted to the width of the tailgate, so just be careful there. Get the carbon section spoiler. For the suspension, the car rides pretty low, but not actually as low as competition would be. It's between stock and lowered. I went for lowered. I'll always go a touch lower rather than a touch higher. And for the wheel type, I've said before, if you want a coloured ring round a black wheel, is going to be one of the last few in the high-end section. I'm showing them all here. Of course, none of them are right, and it really comes up to which do you think evokes most the wheel that we want there. I went for the Cheetah Carbon R, but I could also imagine people taking this Carbonic Z as another option, for example. So take, I say, whichever wheel works the best for you, and then we can paint it in orange. And of course, don't forget to put your bulletproof tyres on if you're going to drive the car pretty much at all. There's no tints on the windows on this car. In fact, there rarely is on older classic type cars, so you don't need that. So that's the build complete. Our next car is a one-off Restomod made by MZR Road Sports, who come from the UK. It's carbon bodied and chock full of upgraded parts. It says you have to contact them if you want to know everything that's gone into the car, but luckily we do have some pictures in very high resolution so that we can copy and build this glorious Restomod. Starting with the arch covers, you can see that we don't need them this time, which is great. The bumpers are a little frustrating. At the front I want a chrome bumper, and then I want the splitter. Unfortunately, you can either have a black bumper or no bumper, and then the colour you choose colours the splitter. On the back of the car, the chrome bumper is sort of available, but it's not full width. So in the end, I have stuck with the same front bumper as before, which is the carbon tuner bumper, so at least we do have some form of bumper there, even though it's the wrong colour, and I think the splitter is a little bit too bold as well. And on the back we just return to a stock rear bumper. Well, we're in luck with the exhaust, because have a look, we've got two central exhaust pipes on this Restomod, same as we've got here on the in-game car, so that's fantastic. Stock exhaust and move on. The stock grille does look very good here, the slats match very nicely. The ridged hood, we still want the ridged hood for the shape, but we don't want it carbon, and a ridged inset hood works really nicely on this. I didn't talk about lights before, but I suggest either the white lights from the car meet like I have here, or you might even want to stick with the yellowy old ones, it depends. I think on a Restomod go for some brighter lights though. To reference the orange 240Z logo and the white stripe on the side of the real car, I have used this same orange 190Z livery as before. I'm a little conflicted, and I'm still thinking of possibly going back to my garage and simply saying no livery, because there's so much orange on it. So really a choice up to you, no livery or the orange 190Z. The Restomod actually has door mirrors, but I went in the end for chrome detail as getting at least closest to the correct shape, if not the position. On the number plate, up to you really. I think you can put whatever you like on here. I like yellow and black sometimes to make it more subtle. For the respray, I'm pleased to say that you don't need a crew colour. You can match this one very close with a metallic sea green, and then it just comes down to selecting the best pearl for the car. And after a bit of playing around, I decided gasoline green is the nicest pearl, and this is pretty close without needing to resort to a crew colour. For the secondary, I want to colour those door handles chrome. It doesn't do a lot else on our particular build, but still chrome for the secondary. And the trim colour is pretty simple, we just leave that as orange. On down to the spoiler. Now you can see there is no spoiler, so that's a very simple one to do. And on the suspension, again, we don't want to lower the car particularly very much. I think that lowered is probably bang on this time. Transmission turbo up to you. I would never put turbo on the car though. Now we could get pretty close with these wheels. We need to go into the street wheels and down to the Cracker custom wheel. That is pretty close, not quite the right number of spokes, but near enough. Then we can paint them either dark copper or gold, but if you look, I think dark copper is going to be a lot closer than gold, so dark copper. There's no tint on the windows. And there is our MZR Road Sports Datsun 240Z completed. Well, there we are, 2 builds for 1 on this classic car in GTA. And for what it's worth, the car here has the MZR Motorsports car. That's how I'm storing it in my garage. If there's any build you'd like me to do on cars in the game, please let me know down below. You can name a specific car you want me to try and make from real life, or you can even just mention a GTA car and let me get on with it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please do give me a like. I'd love a comment as well. And if you like real cars in GTA, then don't hesitate to subscribe. Above all though, thank you so much for watching.